Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the trade review for December 11th, 2013. And man, it was a kick-ass day today, guys. Just a quick note, this is for educational purposes only. Nothing in the video, the Twitter stream, stock twits, or on the blog should be considered a trading recommendation. Trading futures is dangerous. You can lose your ass. Consult a qualified professional. That's not me. Before deciding to trade. So let's go into discussing what the hell happened today. So the first big clue we had was that yesterday I had mentioned that the short side was the easier side to trade. We traded from the short side, really nailed this area right here, right? Highlighted this area here as I said the first trip into this white zone, I'll be taking a short. And I did, and it paid, and it was good. Really, that's about all I had yesterday. It was a pretty lackluster day. I didn't have a lot to brag about, talk about, or take home. I really kind of kicked my feet up. There wasn't a lot for me to do, and I didn't feel like doing a lot. But let's look at today because it was very interesting, right? So we all know what happened already today, so there's no point in showing that. What I do want to show is what happened in the volume profiles. What was it that I pointed out in the morning, besides the fact that it was easier to trade from the short side yesterday. And if we look quickly, right, this is NQ on the daily, right? We see this nasty long liquidation day, right? And we can see, look how NQ's been pushing up. This thing's been a freight train all the way along, right? And really looked incredibly strong. Look at ES, okay? This is the profile. It's gone into this lumbering kind of sideways trade, not very interesting, right? We kind of started here, we took another step up, and we've really just kind of been stuck in this extended range, right? Which I pointed out weeks ago we could go into, right? The other thing I point out is as NQ was hitting new highs, look at ES, man, look at this. It doesn't take a lot to see that. That is not what a market looks like when it's pushing highs, okay? So that was the first sign. Next sign, right, that I pointed out this morning. We stopped one timing. If you want to know what one timing is, just hit me on an email. I don't feel like going through the whole thing right now, but we stopped one timing, and this was a big clue yesterday, okay? This was a big clue that we had a potential change on the horizon. I highlighted it very clearly in the morning video. If you want to go look at it, it's right underneath this one. Okay, so let's go to the next clue, right? If we go back to ES, and again, you can't just do it on one. You got to kind of get confirmation and get a clear picture of what everything's doing. So on NQ, right, look, all of a sudden we were hitting new highs, and then yesterday something changed, and this is the big key right here. I highlighted it this morning. Let's trash this real quick. And I said, this is giving me a big warning sign. I am looking for a change in character in NQ. And since NQ has been leading ES this entire time, I am watching myself here. I'm going to be very, very careful as to what I do because I know that there's a change on the horizon, right? And then what was the next point that I came across to? I came over and I said from the overnight, the next key, I'm trying to switch back over here real quick. The next key was that we get over the prior day's close, which was right here. Right? We were unable to do that out of the gate. We didn't even test it, okay? And so what's one of the things I'm always hammering? If you can't get the gap fill, it's a sign of weakness, okay? Can't get to gap fill, it's a sign of weakness. We could not get to gap fill this morning on ES. On top of that, you'll see that within the first 10 minutes, right, we were already testing this 1800 level, right? The other thing I said, we had to get below 1800 first, and then we had to hold if this day had any chance of upside, and we got below 1800, 1796, 1795 area had to hold, okay? So if you look, now go over here and look at NQ, and I'm probably a little bit wired. I have been up a long time. So let's do this here real quick. Let's remove this. Okay, look at the, not what I wanted. Look at the first 5 minutes of today's market. Look at this. This is our open, right? Remember this here a second ago? The first 10 minutes, straight down on ES. Where are we at on NQ, right? We actually tried to push up the first 10 minutes, complete divergence, right? What had to happen here? Well, here was our close right here, right? We had to hold above the close, right? Excuse me, hold on one second here. Here we go. And we had to get above the white zone, okay? Unable to do so, just simply unable to do so. We immediately fell back down and below Globex lows, right, in this sweeping motion. So this move right here, and I'm sorry, I know I kind of broke up there for a second, I lost my space. This bar was key. Why was it key? It held support first time, right? We held support down very clearly. We already tested this zone on the open. We held this zone on support, right? Came back up to the top of it, right? But when we couldn't get back above, at this point, we're 4 bars into the day, right? And I said I'm keying off of, in the pre-market, keying off of NQ. When you looked and I saw ES, right? This is the 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in 20 minutes, okay? And I took along right here at 1796.50, 1796, I forget where it was, but I tweeted it out. You can go back and look on the Twittersphere there, and it'll be sitting there. And I took along, and what did I say? I said this thing is taking too long to respond, right? And it's not enough of a rejection back up, and that this bar as well, this big nasty red bar, was significant, and it was time to get the hell out of Dodge. And so I took 1 point on half, moved the stop to break even, and hope for the best. Okay, the only way you can get that, that's out of trade plan a little bit. The only way you can get that is if you had an understanding of what had to happen. Not only that, but you had to go back and look. What happened the previous times we had gotten to 1796.50? Man, that thing slingshotted out of 1796.50 back into that 1800 level. We just sat there. We sat there for 10 minutes. Okay, so when you see that, trading leverage, most people make the mistake that trading stock and trading futures is the same thing. It's not. Even if you're trading unleveraged and you're trading futures, it's like holding a damn time bomb, okay? Time is not your friend. You've pulled the pin on this thing, release it. Let it go. It's got to pay you. You got to get your scale, and you got to get to safety as quickly as possible if you want to survive in this business and you want to make money consistently. And what is the key? What does it go back to? The key that it goes back to is no one trade matters, no one day matters, no 1 week matters, right? So I didn't hear anybody, well, a few people, but not many, talk about the downside move that came today. Very, very few. I was one of the few that was trading from the short side yesterday, okay? And I would have loved to get a short side setup here, and I'll go over why I didn't have a short side setup. I did take NQ short out of the gate, but I didn't have time to tweet it out to anyone. So I'm not going to exactly stand on the king of the hill and say, well, I told y'all, but we were looking at downside trades. The other thing that I want to point out that's so important here, right? And that's this. If you have proper trade location, okay, proper trade location, what did we talk about pre-open? That the first place I would look if I was going to take a long would not be at this Globex lows, that was for very aggressive traders. The first place for moderately aggressive traders would be right here, 6 points down, right? With good trade location, we were still able, given we squeaked out, but we squeaked out with a point, right? The next area that I said, and I tweeted this out, the next area I'm looking for along, 1790, 1792, okay? And sure enough, I actually ended up with 1791, I want to say, long, right? A big, nice rotation. I'm not going to go into specifics. I do that with my clients. I went to some specifics this morning. This is where we took our next long, right? We got our rotation for 2 points, right? And the trailers, if you left any, which most of my new traders don't, just got stopped for break even. No risk. First time into the zone is the focus. First time here, right? Next rotation down, first time into the zone. We took this trade. I believe I took just under 1788 or at 1788. I don't recall at the moment. But key, first time into the zone. We got our 2 point rotation, right? Eventually, it gave a 4 point rotation up, or almost a 4 point rotation, right? Before trading back down to the downside. Second time into the zone, we didn't take anything here. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even here. There was no reason to take this, right? If we continue with this logic, right, again, of trade location, right, and proper rotation, I want to keep with this theory, right? Trade location, proper location. The next trade location that I called out, right, was 1782 3/4, I want to say, is what I called out. I'm not certain that that's what I did. I'll have to go back and look at the Twitter, but it's definitely there. It's certainly on StockTwits, and it'll show the time that I called it. But we were able to nail another 2 points right here. Right now, consider this. This is the biggest, nastiest down day that we have had in a while, right? And me and my guys are nailing these trades. And anyone who wanted to join and use the trade plan, right? As long as you have a solid trade plan, you're using the proper rotations, and you have good location, right? Even on this crappy day where we're going straight down and we're not trading to the short side here, guys, and we're making money consistently. And why are we making money consistently? Number one, patience. Number two, proper rotation. Number three, a great trade plan. Number four, context that was given in the morning. Okay, and we're just letting the odds work for us. And then the what I consider actually my best trade is probably a stupid trade now that I think about it, looking at the time of day, right? But I called the long right here. I realized I was probably flying, as my Scottish friend would say, I was flying a bit too close to the sun. He teases me about wearing my wings and flying too close to the sun at times. And nailed this thing, only took a quarter size position, got my 2 points. I left the trailer, took a point on the trailer. But trade location, guys, if this doesn't emphasize, this whole thing here doesn't emphasize what trade location does for you, then nothing will. I want to flip this one more time in one more way here and show you the flip side of this, and that is I want to bring over this over here real quick and show you. Even if we did not have, let's trash this here real quick, right? The first thing I was showing this morning when we're coming into the day, right? This is right here is 8:30. Let me highlight this for you. That's our 8:30 open on NQ, right? We had this wedge forming that I highlighted. I highlighted this in the pre-market, this area right here, and I said we had a wedge forming, right? The first key was going to be, were we going to hold support down here? And I posted these charts throughout the course of the day, right? And then I posted once we were below and broke below this, right? Short opportunity, short opportunity, short opportunity. The only thing that was that would put a hesitation in me on taking these shorts was lack of rotation up, or decent rotation up to get a short off on. But man, these are nice trade locations, and that's breaking a long pre-existing channel. Great trade. Let me show you what else, right? And this is without zones. Right, my targets were all down here throughout the course of the day. I want to show you this here real quick on ES. Okay, so if we look at ES, is this my ES chart? Don't think it was. Let's see here. No, this is not the chart I was working off of. Give me just a second and we'll catch up. Ah, here we go. This is the chart I was working off of. Okay. First thing I pointed out this morning, right? Look at the downward slope of this channel, right? And what was the other key right here? 1798, bottom of this channel, needed to hold, okay? Again, this wasn't something I made up afterwards. I posted these in the room prior to the open, okay? And if we continue to look, right? So let's expand this out a little bit. Okay. After the break, right, we broke down to 1795. I said 96.98 had to hold. Well, what is this right here? This was a break of the channel and a backside test, right? And then I pointed out possible backside test of the trendline break, but it was a question mark. It wasn't a trade call. The question was, oh hell, let's see if we can fix this real quick. The question was, would this hold? And eventually it did. It was a backside test, but remember what I say about trend lines. Trend lines are something that can be broken. They're like solid white lines on a highway. They're not supposed to be crossed, but they get crossed all the time, right? you can't lose your mind about it. It's just a point or a guidance point, right? And then I said my first area I'd be looking at below here, once we got our bounce out of that 1790.92, which is right here, was 1788 to 1786. And sure enough, we came right to the back of the zone. I took towards the front of the zone, came right to the back of the zone, and you got a beautiful rotation all the way up to 1792. Here was the one thing I wanted that I did not get today. I wanted a backside test of this area one more time to get a short to the downside. I never got it. It's disappointing. It would have made for a great day into a phenomenal day. But you take what the market gives, not what you demand. So I hope through showing, again, the point of doing this is not, wow, and ES is really just getting the daylights knocked out of it right now. We're trading down at 1770. If that's the case, I need to actually, did not realize that. I did not want to, I don't want to scare people away from trading. I actually want to do just the opposite. My goal of doing this is to empower you to realize that, first of all, you don't have to call the entire swing. You don't have to know when the market's going to roll over or prognosticate prior to it happening when it's going to roll over. All those guys that are talking about knowing the market was going to roll over, they were all full of shit. They were the same ones that were telling you at 1700 the market's going to zero. Okay? And the same guys that were telling you that it was going to go into 1850, those guys don't know jack either. The guys that know jack are talking about market structure, rotation size, risk management, trade management. Okay? Because when you're making money, we're not hedge fund managers. If you're a hedge fund manager, you're not listening to me, and you don't have $1 billion if you're listening to me. You already figured out how to make your money, okay? This is for people that want to learn how to make money. Take small amounts of money and make it into large amounts. And what I mean by small amounts is really anything less than $1 million, and you've got a relatively small amount of money. If you've got less than 100,000, you've got a minuscule amount of money. And what do we all want, right? What's the American dream? We all want to be rich, but how the hell do you attain it? Well, let me tell you, you don't attain it by hitting home runs. You attain it by getting on base first, okay? And once you get good at getting on base first and consistently, then you start trying for doubles, occasionally triples, and then every once in a while you get your grand slam home run, and that's nice, but you don't need it to get rich. And that's the American dream. That's why everyone looks to trading, because we're all tired of working for, whether you're working for, I've talked to guys that make $30,000 a year. I talk to guys that make $300,000 a year. And all of them, without exception, get tired of going to work and doing someone else's bidding to make someone else rich. So I'm passionate about this. I want to help people make money. I like helping people make money. You've got to be willing to do the work and to discipline yourself and focus on the small steps that it takes. But it doesn't take long to go from small steps to large steps. And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to find more trades. You just have to get good and have a high win percentage, right? And once you have a high win percentage, you just increase your trade size. That's all you have to do. You don't need anything more than ES. So at any rate, my name is Simon. I'm a Trade and Perform Coaching. I'm off the soapbox. I'm going to bed. Let me just take a quick look here. If we are actually really, truly trading at 1770, which would be really interesting. And apparently we're not, which is, let's see here. Let's make sure we're at the end here. I have no idea why this is showing. I know what has happened here. We have rolled over the contract to the March contract. And that's why things look a little whack here, but we're actually trading up, believe it or not. So we went out near 1780. So if 1760 is the new 1780, let's see here real quick if we can just adjust this. Okay, so here we go. So we went out at 17, according to this. If I recall correctly, 1780 is where I went long. So what they're saying is the new 1780 is approximately 1773. And right now we are trading at let's see here. So we are trading down. 1773 was the new 1780, 1772. That's an 8-point spread. So we're trading approximately 8 point lower. So we're trading about 1778 on the December contract. And let me make sure that that is exactly what we are seeing here. Let's see. ESC 13. Well, that threw me for a loop. I forgot all about contract rollover, and I apologize, guys, but that's exactly what's happened here, is that in the after hours, we are trading just below 1780, and sure enough, just below 1778 to 1776. So more selling in Asia. We'll see how we look in the morning. There is going to be lots of fun tomorrow, hopefully good trade opportunities, and I'm going to go work on the trade plan, and then I'm going to jump into bed. Have a great night, everyone. I hope this was helping someone out there. Bye-bye.